You have 5 minutes to get out of the door, and the thing you need the most is right in front of you, or at least it should be your keys. You rush to the table, check your coat pocket, dig through your bag, all in vain. You check under the couch cushions, start rifling through drawers, practically tearing your living room apart. But those damn keys? Gone. This is the start of a game you didn't sign up for, the search for the elusive object. It's a game that plays with your mind, and the longer it goes on, the more frustrating it gets. But here's the catch. It's not just about misplacing things. Your brain is actually tricking you. The now you see it, now you don't effect. What happens next is where things get a bit bizarre. As you're searching, your brain keeps repeating the same pattern. You've checked everything, right? You know it's there. You know it's somewhere near you. But your brain, in its infinite wisdom, decides it's no longer going to show you that thing you desperately need. But why does this happen? Well, it's partly due to selective attention. Your brain is like a filter. It's constantly bombarded with millions of pieces of sensory information at once. If you're looking for something, it narrows its focus, but there's only so much it can handle. As you fixate on the object, your brain essentially decides to ignore it until you calm down or shift your focus elsewhere. It's like your brain goes, yeah, I know you need your keys, but let's make this a little harder, shall we? The cognitive bias, confirmation bias. Now, this is where things get a little more psychological. Ever heard of confirmation bias? This bias isn't just about facts, it also affects our expectations. When you think you've lost something, your brain is already set to look for absence, and every time you don't find it, your brain makes it harder to believe it's actually there. It focuses on the absence rather than the presence. You keep looking, and with each search, your mind becomes more convinced that the keys aren't there. The more you look, the less likely you are to see them, even if they're sitting right in front of you. It's almost as if your brain doesn't want you to succeed in finding what you need because the search is more satisfying than the solution. The reappearance magic trick. And here's the kicker. When you've given up or turned your attention to something else entirely, that's when the keys reappear. You step back, breathe, and think, okay, fine, I guess I'll be late. And then, bam, there they are. Were they really, or did your brain just need a little nudge to refocus on the task? This is part of the perceptual set theory, which suggests that your mind can only process so much at one time. When you're overly focused on finding something, your brain sometimes overlooks the obvious. You were looking so hard for the keys that you couldn't see them even if they were right under your nose. The perception of time, why it feels like it's always lost. Another layer to this puzzle is time. When you're on a tight deadline or under stress, time seems to move at warp speed. Your brain starts to get anxious, and that anxiety magnifies the sense of urgency. It's like an emotional snowball rolling downhill, gaining speed as it goes. Every second feels like a minute, and every minute feels like an hour. The longer you search, the more frustrated you get, and the more distorted your sense of time becomes. In psychology, this is often called time compression when emotional pressure distorts your perception of time. It's the reason you feel like you've been searching for hours, even though it's only been 15 minutes. And the more you push to find the object, the more time seems to slip away, making it feel like the thing you need has vanished forever. Why your brain is doing this to you? Now you might be wondering, why would your brain make it so hard to find what you're looking for? Well, there's an evolutionary angle to this. When our ancestors were in survival mode, stress and anxiety helped them focus their attention on finding food or avoiding danger. But that same stress response isn't always helpful in modern life. When you're searching for keys or your phone, your brain activates the same pathways it would use in a life or death situation, even though the stakes aren't nearly as high. This fight or flight response heightens your focus, but it also narrows your perception. The more you stress out, the more likely you are to miss what's right in front of you. The social media factor, why this happens more often now. In the digital age, the phenomenon is only amplified. Think about it. Have you ever tried to find something on your phone, like an old text or a meme, and the more you search, the more elusive it becomes? The more you try to dig through your phone, the more you can't find it. It's like the harder you try, the more everything slips away. This isn't just a coincidence. The dopamine hit you get from finding something you're looking for is addictive. Your brain is constantly looking for that satisfaction, which is why when you can't find something, it creates a cycle of frustration, which in turn fuels the desire to keep searching. What happens when you let go? Ironically, the best way to find the thing you're looking for is to let go. The more you relax and stop fixating on finding it, the more likely you are to stumble upon it. This is because when you ease your focus, your brain can work on other pathways and unlock the solution. Sometimes simply walking away from the search allows your brain to work in the background without the emotional pressure, and suddenly, bam, the keys or the phone or whatever else you needed appears right in front of you. The bigger picture, the importance of mindful searching. So, what does this all mean? Well, in a world full of distractions, we are constantly putting ourselves under pressure to find things, solve problems, and make decisions. The never ending cycle of searching. Let's go a little deeper into this. It's not just about losing your keys or your phone, it's the entire cycle of searching. There's something fundamentally odd about the way our brains handle these searches. Think about this. When you begin searching for something, it feels like a mission. But this mission isn't just about finding the item, it's a psychological task that your brain has decided is critical. And here's the thing, your brain doesn't care whether it's a phone or something more trivial like a pen. It makes the hunt feel equally intense, even though the consequences of not finding either are vastly different. Why does the brain treat these searches the same? It's because when you start looking for something, your brain starts to prioritize that thing. The more you focus on it, the more you convince yourself it's an urgent task. And as the time goes on, the emotional attachment to the object increases. It's like you're telling your brain, this is critical. We need this right now. So your brain increases the stakes, even though the reality is it's just a pair of socks you misplaced. In some sense, we're creating our own anxiety by starting the search in the first place. That sense of urgency you feel when you can't find what you're looking for, it's a trap your brain sets for you. The search becomes a habit. It also happens to be habitual. Have you ever noticed how you go through the same motions over and over again? When you've lost your keys, you start with the same search routine: pockets, desk drawer, couch cushions. Then you retrace your steps, check your bag, and maybe even look in places where it's absolutely impossible for your keys to be, like the fridge. It's almost like your brain has a preset pattern for these things. The bizarre part? The longer you follow the pattern, the less likely it is that you're going to find the item. The cycle becomes self perpetuating. Your mind is convinced it's the next step in the search that will lead to success, that each time you search with the same expectation, the odds are stacked against you. It's as if your brain is hardwired to not want you to succeed too quickly. It's an odd kind of self sabotage. When searching becomes an addiction, think about this for a moment. Have you ever found yourself searching for something even though you know it's impossible to find at that moment? You've probably done it countless times. It's almost like the act of searching becomes addicting, right? It becomes a ritual you repeat out of compulsion. You think you'll find the keys if you just check the drawer again, or the couch cushions, or the kitchen counter. Why is this? Part of it is the dopamine reward system. Searching for something triggers a small release of dopamine in your brain, which is the same chemical involved in reward and pleasure. Every time you almost find it, your brain gets a little hit of dopamine, making you want to keep going. This keeps you locked in an endless loop where the search itself becomes the reward, even though it's leading nowhere. But that doesn't matter because your brain keeps getting rewarded by the act of searching itself. When we stop searching, this is where the most interesting part happens. The moment you give up, the second you abandon the hunt, that's when things get weird. That's when the keys, the phone, or whatever else suddenly appears.
I'm
It's
here.
almost as though the item has been waiting for you to stop searching. Why does it seem like the second you give up, it shows up? It's because your brain has relaxed its grip on the idea of finding it. When you let go of the pressure, you regain your ability to actually see it. This is called cognitive unloading, when your brain has been overworking and the act of letting go allows it to process information more freely. By stepping back and stopping the search, you've allowed your brain to refocus, and that's when the thing you were looking for suddenly appears, seemingly out of nowhere. It's like when you're trying to remember someone's name and it's on the tip of your tongue. You keep forcing yourself to think about it, but it just won't come. The minute you stop obsessing, though, bam, the name pops into your head. That's cognitive unloading in action. It's a pattern we all follow. The cycle repeats itself in various ways throughout life, whether we're looking for something small or something big. Think about the times you've been searching for a person and trying to track them down on social media or through mutual contacts. The more you try to make the connection, the more elusive it becomes. It's not that the person is hiding, they're probably in the same places they always are. But as your brain locks onto the search, it becomes harder to recognize what's right in front of you. Your mind is too focused on the hunt to actually see what you need. And isn't this a perfect metaphor for life? Sometimes we get so focused on chasing goals, ideas, or dreams that we don't even notice what's already in front of us. Sometimes the more we chase, the further it gets. And ironically, when we stop chasing, things fall into place effortlessly.